Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades of all kinds, thank you for joining me no matter where you're at across country around this big, beautiful globe. And here we go again. Should it really be any surprise? 100% of terrorist attacks in the United States that have resulted from death from 2016 to 2022 have been committed by right wingers. They're just violent. They believe there is a purifying agent to violence. And that is what they're trying to do here. It's absolutely bonkers. Okay? But that's how the right wing gets down. Now, we're going to talk about what we know about this fool, who they listened to, and what they believed. So let's start with the daily.com. This might be a fairly long video, or it might be 10 minutes. Pelosi attacker's online trail paints pivot from left-leaning hemp seller to far-right conspiracy theorist. David DePape posted countless conspiracy theories and anti-Semitic content. This is by Michael Thalen in daily.com. David DePape, the 42-year-old California native who is accused of attacking Paul Pelosi, he was trying to assassinate Nancy Pelosi, let's be clear. That's how serious this is. He was trying to assassinate Nancy Pelosi, who was accused of attacking Paul Pelosi with a hammer at his San Francisco residence on Friday, left a bizarre online trail of conspiracy theories surrounding everything from COVID-19 pandemic to the Holocaust. Because of course. But his online picture shows a journey from anti-George Bush leftist to someone who chanted a popular January 6th refrain while committing his attack. Pape is said to have broken into the home between midnight and 2 a.m. while demanding to know the location of Paul's wife, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who was not in the state at the time. Where's Nancy? He allegedly said the same chant rioters used while stalking the halls of Congress. After DePape's arrest, numerous writings that reportedly belonged to the suspected attacker were uncovered. As reported by CNN, now deleted Facebook page belonging to DePape was filled with videos produced by MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, or Mike Pillow as some of you call him, falsely labeling the 2020 presidential election as stolen. So we got Mike Pillow and Mike Pounce. Okay, got it. Both crazy right-wing Christians. DePape also shared a YouTube video referring to the investigation into the January 6th Capitol riot as a Democrat farce. I'm guessing he means Democratic. And defended Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin as he was found guilty of killing George Floyd. Something I gotta say about this. I listened to a lot of Chris Hedges, and Chris Hedges teaches inmates. And inmates talk about the brutality in prison. You can actually find similar stories about the brutality of war and what it does to you psychologically. And they talk about how to engage in this sort of brutality, the level that they do, you have to kill yourself first. Obviously, they don't mean physical, they mean emotionally. You kill yourself first. That's what this clown did. Anyone who makes light of what the brutal murder, Derek Chauvin was a serial killer, by the way, the brutal murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin has already killed themselves emotionally. And generally, people who have killed themselves emotionally are right wingers. It's just, it goes hand in hand with sadistic politics. In defending Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin after he was found guilty of killing George Floyd, a personal blog cited by Heavy as belonging to DePape, who has been charged with attempted homicide, assault with a deadly weapon, elder abuse, and other charges, also decried Big Brother censorship in major tech companies. Capitalists like you, DePape. What an idiot. Other posts refer to photographic proof of alien-human hybrid infiltrators, as well as the term black-pilled, used to describe those who have adopted a nihilistic view towards life in politics. DePape also referred to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton as Hitlery. Another blog reportedly linked to DePape, known as Friendly Friends, includes numerous anti-Semitic writings. One such blog, titled Ukrainian Cannon Fodder, starts by stating that the more Ukrainians die needlessly, the cheaper the land will be for the Jews. Of course, right-wingers, they have to find a way to blame Jews for something. Always got to blame Jews for something, huh? That site covered a number of topics that appear to align with far-right flashpoints, like criticism of Amber Heard. I think anyone rational would be very critical of her. In her trial against Johnny Depp, grooming in schools, and voter fraud. It is not definitive that the blog belongs to DePape, but a domain search Shows the blog is registered to David DePape, who lives in Richmond, California, which is just outside Berkeley. Although the blog does not have an outright association with white nationalist Groypers, the use of the term friends is popular among the movement. A person involved with the Groypers was part of the group that breached Pelosi's office on January 6. Also on the blog is a section about the Great Reset, the conspiracy canard of the QAnon crowd. A search for the term holohoax used by those who deny the Holocaust also brings up numerous posts that feature anti-Semitic art. I'm dealing with some wild cats here. I got one here. I got one here. They just, they're off the chain today. Gotta take them outside, get them some exercise. Okay, search for the term holohoax used by those who deny the Holocaust also brings up numerous posts that feature anti-Semitic art. It appears DePape's politics shifted aggressively to the right during the last several years. The suspect was previously listed as a member of the Green Party, a cliquish, often capitalist-like party, and worked as a hemp jewelry maker in the early 2010s. DePape was even chosen to be the best man at a nudist wedding at San Francisco City Hall in 2013. Law enforcement officials are currently investigating the motive for the attack. Well done, pal. Now, here's a little thread on Twitter I found. Quite interesting. That links Jimmy Dore into this. Because what a surprise. How many times have I talked about the pseudo-left serving as a pipeline for the right wing? Because what does the pseudo-left do? What do they represent? They represent a reactionary layer of society, okay? An upper middle class layer of society that is fundamentally uncomfortable with political movements from the left and below. They're just not down with it. They're just not down with it at all. And they will do anything to stifle the international left and anything to prop up, to serve as a firewall for the right wing, for capitalist interests, to maintain capitalist rackets, because that's where they get their wealth, that's where they get their power, that's how they get their respect, and that's how they control information distribution. Now, what do? I'm not positive. Okay, I know they use Fox News. I know they use Newsmax and OAN. I know they use Stormfront and the Daily Stormer and things like that. Okay, if maybe 4chan, 8chan, they get talking points from there, and then they freaking try to distill it down to some sort of third way populism, which is just crappy centrist politics. Okay, and then it leads people, they serve as sheepdogs, if you will, for the right. Little lap dogs. Okay, this is by Laura Rosen, at L Rosen. Thank you for your work there, pal. Screenshot of an anti-Semitic video the suspect in attack on Paul Pelosi posted 3 days ago with the caption, "That's some pretty sick Jewing going on, if true. How disgusting. Bomb the country into shit so the residents leave, buy the land up for cheap, then pay for it all." He's and this is referencing Ukraine's war with Russia. Same post has another pro-Putin propagandist, Jimmy Dore video blaming the West for Russia's war on Ukraine. By the way, the right wing of Ukraine is to blame for the war in Ukraine. Okay, this has been going on for 8 years. All right, and it's not totally the fault of the West or totally the fault of Russia. It's mostly the fault of the right wing in Ukraine. It just is. I'm sorry. It's just a fact of history. Okay, you can blame Putin's reactionary response. I do, and I have many times, and I've dragged him. He's not the head of United Russia, but he's head of the country. So they had no progressive solution to the crisis. Let's keep it real. Okay. Experts blame the U.S. and NATO. So Jimmy Dore getting one right for once. Suspect on October 19th implored Trump to make Tulsi Gabbard his VP nominee. Suspect on the same day, last week, he urged Trump to make Tulsi Gabbard his VP nominee. Posted a photo of a gas chamber. Suspect in attack on Paul Pelosi on October 19 posts about Kanye West, then makes several virulently anti-Semitic posts, including about Auschwitz gas chambers, blaming Jews for the war in Ukraine, also urging Trump to run with Tulsi Gabbard. Some posts reference Red Pill. Is that QAnon? No, Red Pills came way before QAnon. By the way, the funny thing is, like, in real life, the Red Pill means going left. Okay, going left and seeing the truth. Okay, in real life, taking the blue pill, if you will, means going to the right wing and just ignoring reality, saying, I don't want to see what the Matrix really is. Okay? And you can actually see that in the movie. It's only these right wingers online who have tried to take it and say, no, we've taken the red pill. We know how it is. No, you don't. You live in a fucking fantasy land. Okay, and she has just a massive list here of stuff, a bunch of videos by Jimmy Dore. Okay. Sure, whatever. I really would have rather read. We got a little bit of time. Fascist who attacked Paul Pelosi was targeting House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. This is by Barry Gray in the World Socialist website. So I'm gonna put this down below. I'm gonna read a little bit of it real quick, and then we're gonna go take. We got some more to take care of. Initial information from San Francisco, California authorities plus media reports established that the assailant who attacked Paul Pelosi early Friday morning, sending the 82-year-old businessman to the hospital with serious injuries, was planning to attack his wife, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, second in line of succession to the U.S. presidency. It is also clear attack was politically motivated. At a brief press conference on Friday, San Francisco Police Chief William Scott identified the assailant, who was taken into custody at the Pelosi home, the scene of the crime, as 42-year-old David DePape. Scott said DePape faces charges of attempted homicide, assault with a deadly weapon, elder abuse. We got that earlier. Campaigning and check this out. Check this out. I find this very interesting. According to White House Press Secretary KGP, let's just call her that, President Joe Biden called Speaker Pelosi Friday morning to express his support after the attack. She noted that the president continues to condemn all violence. Campaigning in Philadelphia, where the toss-up race for U.S. Senator for Pennsylvania between it's not really much of a toss-up. Fetterman's winning by like 7 points. Even with this newest poll that came out, it's newest polls, plural. He's winning by like 7 points. But you never know. It's Pennsylvania. Don't sit back if you want to win. Go try to win. Democratic candidate John Fetterman and Trump-endorsed Mehmet Oz could determine control of the upper chamber. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris both issued perfunctory statements condemning violence, while evading any mention of either Donald Trump or the Republican Party. What a bunch of goddamn idiots. This followed media reports of social media posts by DePape echoing many of the fascist themes promoted by the former president and the Republican officials in midterm election campaign speeches, which have become increasingly violent, openly anti-Semitic in the run-up to the election day on November 8th. The posts show that DePape is obsessed with 2020 election, Trump's big lie that was stolen, which is backed by more than half of the Republican candidates in the upcoming election, many of whom refuse to say they will abide by the results should they lose. You gonna abide by the results, buddy. You will. You will. And if you don't, you're just giving me a good time. You're giving me an excuse. And a lot of guys like me. The post shows, okay, so we got that. Moreover, DePape's posts, like Trump campaign events, invoke themes associated with the QAnon conspiracy theory, anti-communism, hatred of Jews, religious fanaticism, and the Great Replacement theory, which claims that an international Jewish conspiracy theory is on their way to flood the white Christian populations with inferior races as part of a satanic plot to conquer the world. Jesus Christ on a cross. A standard feature of Trump's speeches is an attack by name on Nancy Pelosi, along with Joe Biden, for deliberately opening the southern border to allow an invasion of migrants to destroy the U.S. and its Christian inhabitants. Trump rallies have featured far-right Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, and QAnon adherent who calls herself a Christian nationalist. Just last Saturday, in a speech in Robstown, Texas, Trump declared, "We are going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi. We are going to end her political career." How many people is this guy going to threaten with death before someone does something? Her political career is going to end once and for all under Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the radical Democrat Congress. The Texas way of life is under siege. Jesus Christ on the cross. Jesus Christ. I'm going to put the rest, I'll probably put the rest of this one just down below for you guys. Okay. Biden has allowed millions of... Relentless. Absolutely relentless. Absolutely relentless. Yeah. Biden has allowed millions and millions of legal aliens to storm across the border from 160 countries. They're storming our country, including Syria, Somalia, Yemen, Russia, China, Iran, all of Africa. They're storming our country. They're storming our borders. This guy is a lunatic. It is widely reported that DePape demanded to know of his victim, "Where's Nancy?" repeatedly. Other sources say DePape planned to tie up Paul Pelosi and remain in the house until his wife returned. Holy shit. Let's go to some responses from this. Jimmy Dore's cult of sycophants making light of what happened to Paul Pelosi is really sickening and shows how terrible people they really are, Mr. Frank the Tank says. And we got some disgusting responses from a lot of Jimmy Dore fans down here. People who I know to be so on Twitter. Today's a very good reminder the entire left needs to be as far away from Jimmy Dore and his orbit as possible. Do not work or align with any of them. I guess Jimmy Dore's getting to work with the Boogaloo Boys he always wanted to, right? The guy who broke into Nancy, this is by Ravana, into Nancy Pelosi's house and attacked her husband was a Jimmy Dore fan, LMAO. Jacqueline, Jackie, the chaotic leftist, like we've been saying for almost 2 years, the entire left needs to completely distance itself from Jimmy Dore. The fascist who broke into the Pelosi's home and attacked Paul Pelosi was an avid Jimmy Dore fan as well as a QAnon conspiracy theorist and election denier. It's true. Dante Atkins says, so this is not surprising. The attacker of Paul Pelosi was deeply anti-Semitic, a fan of right-wing conspiracy theories, and also a fan of Jimmy Dore, who has become a right-wing conspiracy theorist. This is what the Trump movement is turning people into. I love these responses. I love these responses. I mean, they're ripping them. Clueless Ron says, this is the best response I've seen. They went from force the vote to force yourself into their house with a hammer. He says, imagine defending Jimmy Dore. That right there's the people's elbow. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that because we got some other stuff to talk about, guys. I'll be right back.